Harry's got the fame, Hermione's got the brains, but where would they be without this guy? Welcome to Watchmojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Ron Weasley moments. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're celebrating Ron's best bits from the Harry Potter films series. Number 10, I'm Ron, by the way.
Excuse me, do you mind?
Not only is this the first time the trio meet, but it's the first glimpse we get of Ron, and we're immediately on side.
I'm Ron, by the way. Ron Weasley.
Shuffling in with a smudge on his nose and a sandwich in his pocket, he's open-mouthed at seeing Harry, but he's soon teaching his new friend all about the wizarding world over a chocolate frog or two. And then in walks his future wife. But it's not exactly love at first sight.
Are you sure that's a real spell? Well, it's not very good, is it?
With a dodgy spell and a disgruntled rat, Ron's role as the underdog is cast. Number 9, the Mirror of Erised moment.
Do you think this mirror shows the future? How can it?
Yes, the Mirror of Erised is mostly Harry's to gaze in, but Ron's time with his own reflection is a vital moment in establishing his character.
Ron, come on, get out of bed. Why? There's something you've got to see, now come on.
A middle child in the Weasley clan, Ron's anxieties are what makes him relatable. Will he be better than his older brothers? Could he ever outshine Potter? Either way, he seems glad to have been dragged out of bed, even if he can't help Harry explain the appearance of his parents.
That's me! Only I'm head boy.
And there's even time for a trademark turn of phrase.
Bloody hell! I'm Quidditch captain too! Hello, good.
Number 8, Love by Chocolate. While the later films are fraught with romantic tension from all sides, Ron's quest for love is one of the rockiest. What with Fleur de la Cour, Lavender Brown, and the ever-complicated Hermione situation, it's enough to leave anyone dazed and confused.
It's one thing for a bloke to show up alone. For a girl, it's just sad.
I won't be going alone because, believe it or not, someone's asked me.
But then Ron eats a stash of sweets spiked with a love potion and gets Vane on the brain. Romilda, that is.
It was on your bed, the box. I just thought I'd try one. Or 20. I can't stop thinking about Harry.
Racing through a fierce infatuation and hitting hilarious emotional highs, it's up to Slughorn to make him see sense.
Hello, darling. How's your drink?
Number 7, Polyjuice potion at the Ministry.
We've got Horcrux to find.
To a particularly tense moment in the penultimate movie, but leave it to Ron for some comic relief.
We flush ourselves here.
Assuming the identities of government officials, Harry, Hermione and Ron go undercover in search of Umbridge and a Horcrux, but Ron brings at least a little bit of fun. Whether he's complaining in the cubicle or fretting for his other half, as Reggie Catamol, he causes chaos in the Ministry.
What am I going to do? My wife's all alone downstairs.
At least he gets a kiss for his troubles, much to everyone's confusion.
Mary, do as I say.
Number 6, Quidditch Try-Outs. Quidditch can be a sore spot for Ron, who has Harry and his brothers to compete with.
Keepers need to be quick, agile. I like my chances.
But our boy did get his moment in the sun on a pretty cloudy afternoon, and he beats the conceited Cormac McLaggen too. He's vulnerable, unorthodox, and one wrong move away from serious injury. Basically, Ron plays Quidditch like he lives his life.
I have to admit, I thought I was going to miss that last one.
And it's all worth it when he stars against Slytherin, without Felix Felicis we might add. Even Hermione's impressed. He's a keeper in more ways than one.
Didn't put it in. How long you thought you did?
Number 5, Flying the Ford Anglia. Having already bust Harry out of his bedroom prison at the Dursleys, much to his father's delight, Ron gets behind the wheel again for this scene, seeking an alternative route to Hogwarts.
Most muggles aren't accustomed to seeing a flying car.
The whole thing is Dobby's fault, of course, but Ron, he's got it under control. Sort of. He nearly derails the train and almost kills the boy who lived, but they get there in the end, despite a wand-ruining park job. All this around 5 years before mere muggles could get their L-plates.
My wand! Look at my wand! Be thankful it's not your neck.
Number 4, at the Burrow. Ron's been at Harry's side throughout all sorts, and he's faced his worst nightmares.
Why spiders? Why couldn't we follow the butterflies?
So this speech really hits home. We're at the Burrow when Harry tries to quietly slip off in search of Horcruxes, but Ron's having none of it.
You may be the chosen one, mate. But this is a whole lot bigger than that.
Stepping up for his friend's time of need, it's he that leads Harry this time, with determined words and unwavering loyalty. Sure, staying for the wedding might not have been the wisest move, but Ron's honesty is admirable. And he's probably onto something about Voldemort, you know?
And when Dumbledore destroyed the ring, you destroyed Tom Riddle's diary. He must have felt something.
Number 3, love at last. We all knew it was coming, and it was worth the wait. Ever since first year, Ron and Hermione have been bickering their way through everything Hogwarts could throw at them.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
But here they finally quit quarrelling and smooch like there's no tomorrow, which at the point, there might not be. True, there are probably more romantic spots than in a dungeon under a bathroom by the skeletal remains of a basilisk, but the Battle of Hogwarts raging above them, who cares? And another Horcrux down too. Happy days. Number 2, Wizard's Chess. A favourite game of Ron's throughout his childhood, Wizard's Chess isn't for everyone, but few can play better than he.
That's Wizard's Chess.
And Ron's tactics are put to the test on the way to finding the Philosopher's Stone. Of course, this particular game requires more than just mental strength.
As for me, I'll be a knight.
Realising that they can win, but only if he sacrifices himself, Ron's knight meets triumph with destruction to ensure that Harry can continue. Proving himself prime hero material, he bags 50 house points in the process too.
For the best played game of chess that Hogwarts has seen these many years, 50 points.
Number 1, destroying the Locket.
3.
We've already seen how the trio swiped Slytherin's Locket, but it's Ron who's most affected by its power. In fact, the strain of wearing it even triggers him to desert his friends.
I get it. I saw you two the other night.
But that didn't last, and Ron's crowning moment comes on his return. First he saves Harry, and then he faces his fears once and for all.
It was you. Well, yeah. A bit obvious, I think.
Wielding the sword of Gryffindor, Ron refuses to be blinded by the visions put before him and promptly shatters some of the Dark Lord's soul. What a bloke. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK and subscribe for more great content.